The tale of Mimidoo's unusual marriage began long before she was born. Steeped in the age-old traditions of her people, it was said that in ancient times, when the world was still young, the gods decreed that certain women would be blessed with the ability to take multiple husbands. These women were known as maidens of the moon, chosen by the celestial beings to bring balance and harmony to their communities. Mimidoo was born under the light of a full moon, and from the moment she took her first breath, it was clear that she was destined for greatness. Unable to choose between the two men who had stolen her heart, and so, in a bold defiance of tradition, she declared that she would marry them both, much to the shock and dismay of their community. In the heart of a quiet village, situated in the middle belt of Nigeria, there lived a girl named Mimidoo. Mimidoo was known far and wide for her captivating beauty, her infectious laughter, and her kind heart. Yet, her life was anything but ordinary, for Mimidoo was married to not one but two husbands. The tale of Mimidoo's unusual marriage began long before she was born. Steeped in the age-old traditions of her people, it was said that in ancient times, when the world was still young, the gods decreed that certain women would be blessed with the ability to take multiple husbands. These women were known as maidens of the moon, chosen by the celestial beings to bring balance and harmony to their communities. Mimidoo was born under the light of a full moon, and from the moment she took her first breath, it was clear that she was destined for greatness. Her beauty was unparalleled, her spirits fierce, and her heart pure. As she grew older, suitors from far and wide came to seek her hands in marriage, but it was two young men from her own village who captured her heart. The first was Tunde, a skilled hunter with eyes as sharp as his arrows. He was brave and strong, with a heart as wild as the untamed forest that surrounded their village. The second was Jide, a gentle farmer whose hands worked miracles in the earth. He was wise and patient, with a soul as deep as the rivers that flowed through their land. Mimidoo loved them both fiercely, unable to choose between the two men who had stolen her heart, and so, in a bold defiance of tradition, she declared that she would marry them both, much to the shock and dismay of their community. At first, there were whispers and murmurs of disapproval, but as Mimidoo's love for her husbands became apparent, the people of the village began to accept their unconventional union. Tunde and Jide, who had once been rivals, became brothers in arms, bound together by their love for Mimidoo. For years, the three of them lived in harmony, their days filled with laughter and love. Tunde would regale them with tales of his hunts, while Jide tended to the fields that provided for their village. And so, Mimidoo, with her boundless energy and infectious spirit, brought joy to all who knew her. But as time passed, whispers began to spread once more, fueled by jealousy and envy. Some said that Mimidoo's marriage was unnatural, that she was defying the will of the gods by taking two husbands. Others whispered that she was a witch, using dark magic to ensnare the hearts of men. Despite the rumors, Mimidoo and her husbands remained steadfast in their love for one another, until tragedy struck the village. A terrible drought swept across the land, drying up the rivers and withering the crops. The people grew desperate, their once bountiful village now reduced to dust and despair. In their darkest hour, Mimidoo knew that she had to do something to save her village. Being a maiden of the moon, she set out on a perilous journey, guided by the light of the full moon and the whispers of the wind. For days she wandered through the wilderness, her heart heavy with worry for her village and her husbands. Finally, on the third night of her journey, Mimidoo came across a hidden spring, nestled deep within the heart of the forest. The waters shimmered in the moonlight, clear and cool, a precious gift from the gods themselves. With tears of joy in her eyes, Mimidoo filled her gourd with the secret water and hurried back to her village. As she arrived, weary but triumphant, Mimidoo saw that her people had gathered in the village square, their faces drawn and weary from days of hunger and thirst. Without hesitation, she poured the water from the spring into the village well, and as if by magic, the earth began to stir. From beneath the parched soil, tiny green shoots emerged, reaching for the sun with newfound strength and vitality. The people gasped in amazement, their eyes wide with wonder, as the fields that had lain barren for so long now teemed with life once more. With the drought broken and their village saved, the people of Mimidoo's village hailed her as a hero, their doubts and suspicions washed away by the miracle she had wrought. And though the whispers of jealousy still lingered in the air, Mimidoo paid them no mind, for she knew that her love for Tunde and Jide was stronger than any words spoken in malice. As the years passed, Mimidoo and her husbands, Tunde and Jide, continued to thrive in their village. Their love only grew stronger with time, and they were regarded as the epitome of devotion and harmony by all who knew them. However, just when they thought their troubles were behind them, a new challenge emerged that would test the very foundations of their union. One fateful evening, as the village was enveloped in the warm glow of a setting sun, a stranger arrived at their doorstep. He was a tall man with piercing eyes and a presence that commanded attention. His name was Kofi, and he claimed to be a distant cousin of Tunde's, seeking refuge from a distant land torn by war. Mimidoo welcomed Kofi into their home with open arms, her heart filled with compassion for the weary traveler. Tunde and Jide too embraced their newfound relative, eager to offer him the same hospitality they had shown to countless others in need. But as the days turned into weeks, Mimidoo began to notice a change in Kofi. He was charming and charismatic, with a smile that could melt even the coldest of hearts. But there was something beneath the surface that unsettled her. His words were honeyed, his laughter infectious, but there was a darkness lurking in his eyes that sent shivers down her spine. She tried to ignore her instincts, but Mimidoo couldn't shake the feelings that there was more to Kofi than meets the eyes. And as the weeks turned into months, her suspicions only grew stronger. Then, one stormy night, as the rain pounded against the thatched roof of their home, Mimidoo overheard a conversation between Kofi and a mysterious stranger who had come to visit under the cover of darkness. They spoke in hushed tones, their words barely audible above the roar of the storm, but Mimidoo's heart skipped a beat when she heard her own name spoken in whispers. Determined to uncover the truth, Mimidoo followed Kofi and the stranger into the depths of the forest, her heart pounding with fear and anticipation. And there, hidden beneath the canopy of ancient trees, she stumbled upon a scent that would change her life forever. In a clearing under the moonlight, Kofi and the stranger stood before an altar, surrounded by flickering torches and strange symbols carved into the earth. And at the center of it all, bound and gagged, lay Tunde and Jide, their eyes wide with fear and confusion. With horror, Mimidoo realized that Kofi had been plotting against them all along, his true intentions shrouded in darkness and deceit. He had come not as a cousin seeking refuge, but as an agent of chaos, intent on tearing apart the love that had bound Mimidoo and her two husbands together. But before Mimidoo could intervene, Kofi and the stranger began to chant in a language she did not understand, their voices rising in a sinister crescendo that echoed through the night. And as they spoke, a dark shadow began to form in the air above them, twisting and writhing like a serpent poised to strike. With a cry of defiance, Mimidoo leaped forward, her heart ablaze with righteous fury. She knew that she had to stop Kofi and his dark accomplice before it was too late, before they unleashed forces beyond their control upon the world. Summoning all her strength and courage, Mimidoo plunged into the heart of the darkness. Her hands are stretched and her spirits are flamed. And in that moment, a blinding light erupted from within her, bathing the forest in a brilliant cascade of colors and sound. When the light finally faded and the darkness receded, Mimidoo found herself standing alone in the clearing, her body trembling with exhaustion, but her spirit unbowed. Kofi and his accomplice were nowhere to be seen, and Tunde and Jide lay at her feet, their bindings undone and their eyes filled with gratitude and love. And as they made their way back to the village, bathed in the light of a new dawn, they knew that their love had triumphed over darkness once again, stronger and more resilient than ever before. And so, Mimidoo and her husbands lived out their days in peace and prosperity, their bond unbroken and their love enduring. For in the end, it was not the gods or the traditions of men that mattered, but the strength of their hearts and the purity of their love. Hello guys, where are you watching from? Did you enjoy this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And when you're done, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you get notification when we post new videos. Thank you.